In this video I'm going to show you how you find the electric field induced by a ring of charge. Here the ring lies in the XY plane and the point P lies somewhere on the Z axis right here. Now the way you want to think of this problem is you want to sort of find the electric field caused by a bunch of tiny pieces of this ring, and then you want to add all of those up in the end. So we're going to look at a tiny piece of the ring right here, just a tiny segment of it, and we're going to call it dq. Now, whenever you see d in front of a variable, that's just going to mean a very small piece of it. And same one down here is going to be another dq right here. Now, this tiny piece of the ring is going to induce an electric charge on point P. It's going to look something like this. It's going to create an electric field line that looks about like that. And this small piece right here is going to induce an electric field as well on point P. It's going to create an electric field line that looks something like that. It's going to form an arbitrary angle theta in between itself and the z-axis, and this one is going to be the same angle theta as well by symmetry. And because these are opposite angles, this angle right here is going to be theta, and that angle is going to be theta as well. Now, you can sort of intuitively see that the electric field on point P it's not going to be in any direction in the y direction or the x direction, because this is just going to cancel. The vertical component of this one is going to cancel with the vertical component of that one. So you can say that the electric field in x is equal to the electric field in y, which is equal to 0 by symmetry. You need to write an explanation as to why you're writing these things, because if you wrote that in the AP exam with no explanation, then they wouldn't give you credit for it. And so we need to look at the arbitrary electric field equation just for a point charge. Electric field due to a point charge is just going to be K Q over R squared. Now what that means is if you had a source charge, like a point charge Q, and you wanted to analyze a distance R away, that'll tell you what the electric field is. This is the point that I'm analyzing, and the distance away is R. So if I wanted to find the electric field at this point due to that source charge, then I would plug in this distance R for that, plug in that charge Q, and multiply it by K, which is a constant. Now, we want to look at this dq right here. We can treat dq as a point charge because it's such a small segment of the ring. And we can say that that point charge yields a tiny amount of electric field. So we can say a tiny amount of electric field, dq, or dEP, is equal to k dq, because it's a tiny charge, divided by the distance between this point and that point. Now, in order to find that, it's really easy. You just got to use the Pythagorean theorem. The distance between dq and P is this hypotenuse right here. You can sort of envision this as a triangle, with these two being the legs and the hypotenuse being the distance between them. Now, this leg is going to be just the radius of the circle, r, and this is just going to be the distance that it is on the z-axis. So we're just going to say that that's z. So the hypotenuse of this triangle is going to be the square root of z squared plus r squared. So that's what we would plug into this equation. We plug that in for r squared. But because it's squared, the radical cancels out, because square root of z squared plus r squared times itself is just going to be z squared plus r squared. So we put that in the denominator. But we're not quite finished yet, because that would be saying that this is the entire magnitude of that vector right there, but we know that the x and y components of these electric field lines cancel out. We only want the component that's in the z direction. We only want this component right here. We only want that part of it. So in order to get that part of it, we need to multiply this entire thing by cosine theta, because that gives you the component of this vector just in the z direction. So we multiply that by cosine theta. Now this isn't really a very elegant equation, because we have a theta in here, and we have all these, we have the dq and stuff, so we need to write this in simpler terms. We can use trigonometry to find out a better way to write this. we need to note that cosine theta, if you do a little trig, you can find out that cosine theta is equal to z over the square root of z squared plus r squared. Because we know cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent would be z and the hypotenuse would be the square root of z squared plus r squared. So we know that cosine theta is equal to z over the square root of z squared plus r squared. Now we can use this and plug that in for cosine. We can say that the tiny piece of the electric field is equal to k dq divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2, because you can imagine this as just being to the 1 and this is just being to the 1/2, and you add those together and you say that that's z squared plus r squared to the 3/2. And in the numerator you have to put z as well, because there's z in cosine. Now this is great and all, but it's not really convenient if we want to integrate this thing. Now, in order to integrate this, it needs to be in terms of a convenient variable. Now, the reason we're integrating this in the first place is because we're trying to add up all of these tiny pieces of the ring together. And to do that, we need like an integration variable with respect to like theta or something. And this is with respect to dq. That would be integrating with respect to charge, which doesn't make any sense. So we need to find a relationship between dq and a relationship between dq and d theta. So the way you do that is you sort of envision a tiny arc of this ring right here, like a tiny slice of it. Now I'm going to take that and draw it bigger so that you can see it better. I just drew it bigger. Here it is. That's going to be the tiny arc dl, and this length is going to be r, and the angle of this arc is going to be a tiny angle d theta. Now, if you don't know geometry that well, the angle for arc length is S is equal to r theta. Now, S is the arc length in question, r is the radius of the circle you're talking about, and theta is the angle of the arc length you're talking about. And so when we plug in all of this, we see that the tiny arc length, dl, is equal to big R, the radius of the ring, times d theta. And that still doesn't really help us because we don't have d theta in terms of dq, which is what we needed. We only have it in terms of dl. So what we can do is we can create our own variable, lambda, which is linear charge density. And we can say that the linear charge density of this ring is equal to the total charge of the ring divided by the circumference of the ring. The circumference of the ring would be 2 pi r. And we can rewrite this to be a tiny piece of this, a tiny piece of charge over a tiny arc length, dl. Now we have dl, and we can solve for dq in terms of dl. Now we have that dq is equal to lambda dl, and we can replace all of this for dl. We can say that dq is equal to lambda r d theta. And now this is very convenient for us because now we have dq in terms of d theta, and we can plug that in up here for dq. And now we can use this information and say that a tiny piece of the electric field at P is equal to kz times lambda r d theta divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2. Now this is good and all, and we want to integrate this from 0 to 2 pi. So we start at this point and we rotate all the way around this ring until we get to 2 pi radians. And so we integrate this, and then we integrate that, because you have to do the same on both sides of an equation. And we're going to integrate that from 0 to 2 pi. And when you integrate this, the integral and the derivative cancel, because when you integrate a derivative, it goes away. If you want me to create a video about integrals in the future, maybe I will. Tell me in the comments if you want. And then that cancels, and you get the electric field at P is equal to the integral from 0 to 2 pi of all this stuff. Now the thing about integrals is you can pull constants out of the integral. Now we know that k is a constant, z is a constant, lambda is a constant, r is a constant, z is a constant, and again r is a constant. And so we can pull all of that out and say that it's k, z, lambda, r divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2 times the integral from 0 to 2 pi of just d theta. Now, if you integrate the derivative of theta, the integral just cancels, and you get just theta evaluated from 0 to 2 pi. This just turns into theta from 0 to 2 pi. Now what that turns into, I'm going to write it down here where I have more room. The electric field at point P is equal to kz lambda r divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2 times 2 pi minus 0. And if you don't know about integration, you'll just have to learn that, or maybe I'll make a future video about it. Now, we can't leave our answer in terms of lambda because lambda is just a variable that I created, and we can't use my variables in the equation because that was what it was just a variable that I invented. So we need to rewrite this as q over 2 pi r. So we're going to rewrite this. We're going to rewrite lambda as q over 2 pi r times k times z times r divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2 and then times 2 pi because that was what we got from our integral. Now the 2 pi's cancel, this r cancels, and we're left with the electric field equaling q times k times z divided by z squared plus r squared to the 3/2. Now that's the final answer. You'll get full credit if you wrote this on an AP exam or you wrote this on your test for your teacher. You get full credit for that. If you don't know what this q is, your teacher might write k is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. And if you recognize this form more, just replace 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught for k and you'll still get full credit for it. That's probably going to do it for this video. If you have any suggestions about future videos, put that in the comments. If you have any physics problems, it can be any type of physics, and you can email them to me to the email in the description, and I'll try to make a video about how you do it. That's going to do it for this one, and thank you.